no use, Ed. The whole river full of water couldn't save that barn now. You might as well come on in, boys.
What's the matter with your hand, Red?
Oh, it's nothing. Probably burned it when we tried to get the horses out. What beats me is how anybody knew where we had the cows hid. It don't seem natural that anybody would be spying on us at night. Unless they got wind of what we were up to.
Unless they stumbled onto them accidentally.
In order to do that, somebody would be stumbling a long way from home. Aren't you tying that a little tight, Doc?
You can't take chances with a second-degree burn. Got to keep the air out. Otherwise, it'll be a mess.
Yeah, just like I've been making of everything. All we did was save the rustlers the trouble of rounding up the beef for themselves.
There. That'll hold you for today, Ryder. I'll take another look at it tomorrow. I got to go out to Bill Jackson and see how he's getting along. Certainly keeps me on the jump.
I found this down where the fire started. Somebody emptied it, you see, and then they flung it in the ditch.
That's what I've been telling you, Sheriff. That fire didn't set itself.
Are you sure this ain't yours, Duchess?
Of course I'm sure. And stop wasting time asking silly questions. Arrest them nesters. Throw them in jail.
Well, the sheriff can't be locking folks up in jail just because Blizzard happened to find a coal oil can.
Now, you let me handle this, Red. Trying to pass it off when folks throw rocks through my windows. Well, are you a peace officer or ain't you?
Well, it ain't very strong evidence, actual.
Somebody makes a threat, and then that threat is carried out. What more evidence do you want?
It won't hold up in the court of
Why,
law. All right, I'll go and see what I can find out.
Now, the trouble is everybody is jumping too fast to conclusions.
Jump in my eye. It's as clear as the nose on your face.
One thing isn't. If the nester started that fire, how did it happen to be so convenient for whoever rustled those cows? No, Duchess. This thing goes a lot deeper than it appears from where we stand.
Oh! Howdy. Nice day, ain't it?
Grand.
What are you doing here?
We're clearing a place to build our home.
You must belong to that outfit of nesters that come in recent.
Yes, sir.
We're homesteaders, if that's what you mean. Any objections?
No. I'm just curious about who set the fires yesterday.
What fire?
We don't know anything about any fires.
That's peculiar. I suspect you don't know anything about this, neither. Somebody threw it in the rancher's window.
Why, the liars. None of us wrote that note. We wouldn't be that crazy.
The way it's worded, couldn't be anybody else.
You mean that after this note was received, fires were actually started, Sheriff?
We're not the best part of two ranches.
Well, then they started it themselves. And they wrote that note, too, to make it look bad for us. Dad, that's it. The cattlemen are trying to make an excuse to drive us off our homestead.
The cattlemen couldn't make use of your homestead. And the whole of Lava Basin is nothing but a refuge for rustlers. You better come in with me and do your explaining to the judge.
Oh?
Dad, don't be a fool.
They can't hurt me. It's time somebody found out what's at the bottom of this.
Sheriff. Grab his horse, Ryder.
Take it easy. What are you aiming to do?
Teach this nester a lesson. There's been a lot of fires around here lately, Sheriff. We ranchers figure those nesters are responsible for them.
Oh, no. Don't. You can't.
Never mind. Let him go.
Don't carry on like that. I want to pull through. Aren't I, Doc?
I'll see that you do, son.
Devils. That's all they are, Dad. Just cowards and devils. They didn't leave it to the law, did they? Then why must we? The only way to get justice around
Please,
here.
Miss.
Everybody sticks up for the cattlemen. You don't care what they do. You and the sheriff know.
The sheriff said he'd bring Ryder in.
But he tried to talk us out of it, didn't he?
Why, he wouldn't even admit he heard his name called. Well, Ted, he'll just go on lying for him. And so will you. So will everybody.
Well, Red, it sure puts me on the spot knowing you wouldn't do anything out of the way. And everybody but these homesteaders know the same.
Now, don't worry, Sheriff. All you've got to do is put on your show. And you, little beaver, take the horses round back of the jail. Stay as close as you can.
We're tired, folks. Let the patient have a good look. Son, does he look like the fellow you've made reference to?
Yes. I couldn't see his face, but that hand is wrapped up the same.
You're positive you heard him called by name?
Yes, Ryder.
Well, what have you got to say about that, Ryder?
Just mistaken, that's all.
Can you prove it?
His word against mine.
No, it ain't. I was there and saw you, too. I'm holding you for attempted murder.
Nobody's going to put me in jail.
Stop him! Stop him! Stop him!
Wait, let me have him here. Well, let me have that gun. Doggone it, I missed him.
Well, you're not going to let him get away, are you? You've got to chase him down.
Or escape. He must have swung off to the right. All right, Thunder. You can get up now.
What luck, Sheriff?
I'm sorry, but it looks like he just plumb disappeared.
Well, you mean you're giving up?
Well, no, ma'am, but 24 hours in the saddle is about all one ought to do with horseflesh. We better quiet down now and figure strategy.
Can't let Ryder get out of the country while you're making up your mind.
Oh, no, he won't get very far. Somebody will pick him up. And I'll telegraph description of him and the Indian kid all over the state.
Well, that may be your idea of catching a criminal, but it isn't mine.
Now, hold on. Where are you going?
To find Ryder.
Most doctors would have needed a hospital with a staff of nurses to save that leg, but I'll have it as good as new in no time. Yes, Matt, Ryder had something a lot deeper in mind than just putting on a show with the sheriff.
What, you think the sheriff was in on it?
Of course. Does that feel tight enough? I haven't made up my mind yet just how smart Ryder is, but it doesn't hurt to be cautious as long as he's on the loose.
Where do you guess he is?
I never guess. If I keep my eyes and ears open, I don't have to.
Jim hurt heat much, Red?
Plenty. They're up to my elbow.
That's heat bad. You think maybe you better go back to Annie Dutch's house? He's got stock men there.
Oh, that'd be too risky. But maybe if you went back and told the Duchess to call him on the telephone, you could send him up here.
I can't tell you what you're needed for right now over the telephone, but it's awful serious, Doctor. Can't you come right out? Yes, Doctor. Oh, thanks. Must have been the rustlers trying to scare the nesters out. One of them made himself up to look like Red.
That's about the way I thought it stacked up, until he slugged the sheriff and escaped. If he's innocent, that wasn't very smart.
That's he's smart. You ask the sheriff.
Why, sure, the sheriff and him had it made up, switched themselves way ahead of time. Yes, sirree, that's mighty smart. See, that got the nesters out of his hair for a spell, and that give him a chance to find out something about the rustlers.
I see. But just what does he expect to do?
Oh, that's an old trick I used to play on the Indians. You see, I used to make them think that I'd skipped out, and I'd scout around till I found out where they was hid.
Well, the only thing is he can't do much scouting when his hand is written like it is.
He won't do any scouting at all if blood poisoning sets in. Go out and see what I can do. Can you tell me the way?
You don't tell. Me go along. We ride heap fast. Get there quick.
All right, that's a fine idea. I'll see you later, Dutch. Goodbye, Blizzard.
Goodbye. Find out how bad it is, Doctor, and you little beaver. Scoot back and let me know, huh?
That hurt much?
Not to speak of.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can tell the Duchess everything's going to be all right, little beaver.
Golly, me he's glad. That makes Duchess he's glad, too.
This could have been pretty serious, Ryder.
I guess you're right. They say some men have died from lead.
But not you. When you die, it won't be from any second-degree burn.
Thanks, Doc. Gives me one less thing to worry about. Sure hurts like the blazes.
No, that has to be expected. But not for long. Trouble you much at night?
Keeps aggravating. Don't give me much chance to sleep.
Let's see. Well, I guess we'll have to do something about that. Sleeping pills. Take them and go to bed early. You'll catch up on all the sleep you need.
Thanks, Doc.
You're lucky, Ryder. I've still got a lot of work to do before I can go to bed. Well, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Long enough, I'd find something illegal to use. Keep your hands away from your gun.
Sure. Is this a social call? There are a few things you and I should talk over.
All I want to know is who besides you tried to kill my brother?
Now, there you go again, jumping at conclusions. Instead of giving me credit.
I didn't expect you to tell.
All right. If I've got to die, I'd like to have it over with quick. You'll raise that gun a little higher.
Oh, let me go.
Now, I know this isn't the way to treat a lady. But if you insist on being too stubborn to listen, there's only one thing for me to do. Lock you up until I clear up what I started out to do.